This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Folks, listen up. April 7th, 6:30 p.m. Eastern on Batard Show YouTube. It's the Cheap Seats 305 Equinox. 3 games, 1 stream, no plan. Dan will be there. We'll all be there. It's going to be a lot. And it's presented by Never Miss Your Shot Golf.
You said that fairly breathlessly. I'm hoping next Tuesday Greg Cote stays here all day to be a part of that. 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 305 Equinox. It's basically something that we're doing with Never Miss Your Shot Golf because the Panthers, the Heat, and the Marlins are all playing at the same time. And we're going to start popping up every once in a while in different formats like this to give you bonus shows, extra shows, and do stuff like this a week from now, a week from today. I see that Trysta is here. Juju has had an emergency. We will talk to him later this week. But you can watch Trysta on the Alley Oop on DLS Hoops on Tuesday and the Le Batard YouTube channel on Fridays, as well as Good Follow on Thursdays on the Good Follow YouTube channel.
Not a week from today. Just want to clean that up. April 7th is a Tuesday. So Tuesday, we will be doing the Sports Equinox.
You know what? My bad. I saw Greg Cote, and I thought it was Tuesday, and I forgot that it was Wednesday. So thank you for that correction. I've got a number of things to get to with Trysta, but I wanted to ask her and Amin both if they were interested in the last place where good sports documentaries are being made. Untold has Lamar Adam and Trailblazers, and I didn't know whether you guys were interested in either of those stories, one more than the other.
Jailblazers, baby! Come on! There's a lot of people who say that the Jailblazers were the worst period in Trailblazer history. I think for me in my childhood, it was the best.
Dan, I would not classify Untold as the last place where great sports documentaries are getting made, because most of these Untold stories are glorified PR pieces for the people who are being covered by them. I always will go back to that Tim Donaghy one where it was just like, hey, we're just going to publish all of his lies as told by him and pretend that it's real. And so I've always since then looked at these Untold stories with a massive grain of salt. Like, I don't know how much of this I can trust. It's just the subject telling us their side of the story.
Well, Trysta, that's a good correction by Amin. I should have said where the last of the good ideas are going, because everybody's been trying to make that Jailblazers documentary for about 15 years, and the only way they got it made probably is because they sanitized it. So, Trysta, what were your thoughts on what Amin just said?
Well, I think we'll know that the fix is in if we do not showcase the weed that they got caught for bringing in through the airport in a ball of tinfoil. That's like the peak Jailblazers, or when they got stopped going from Portland to Seattle, or maybe Seattle back to Portland, and they got pulled over. If those stories are not told, then truly the fix is in, because those are the things that were huge in the lore of the Jailblazers in the Portland community, and we kind of hold them near and dear to our hearts.
Jaden Ivey's story, Jaden Ivey's mom being the Notre Dame women's basketball coach. What were the most interesting parts of the Jaden Ivey story to you?
Well, the thing that's kind of crazy to me about it, and that we talk about, hey, we don't want to hold parents we don't want to hold children accountable when their parents go crazy on the internet, like Flage's mom, right, was like, hey, it doesn't matter that South Carolina beat LSU. My daughter's still winning on the court. And we don't feel like Flage should be responsible for what her mom is saying. And I wanted to kind of get you guys' thoughts on whether we should hold or at least ask questions about those that are parents in the public eye when their children that are in the public eye say wild things. Because Nell Ivey is the women's head coach of the Notre Dame team, which is a Catholic university. Jaden Ivey clearly said some things about Catholicism, but Notre Dame in general has been had some circulation or some rumors around homophobia, where Olivia Miles, who I'm actually wearing her TCU jersey right now, transferred out of Notre Dame and did not go to the draft and went to TCU because of, I don't know if it was her issues around Hannah Hidalgo and some of the comments that Hannah Hidalgo made, where she reposted a Candace Owens post about men and women are the only ways that you could have a marriage. But now I'm questioning Nell Ivey is how does she feel about some of these things? And nobody's asking really Nell Ivey what she thinks. And now Jaden Ivey says that his wife is not returning his text messages and his family has betrayed him. So I think it's just interesting when you talk about a kid in the public eye when their parent is a coach of a university as well.
All right, we talked about this some yesterday, but can I talk about it more plainly now? Do you guys feel like sports is equipped in any of these instances to actually just deal with an episode when families aren't equipped, mental health professionals aren't equipped? No, but when you're having a situation where a guy is melting down in public and throwing away his career as his family tries to intervene, but no one can talk sense to him, that's like classic diagnosis of mental health episode if we were able to do this just watching it on television.
Not just sports. I think very few places in American life are equipped for this unless you just so happen to be around a mental health specialist. It's a very difficult thing, and it's not a broken arm, It's happening between the ears. It's a very difficult thing to understand, and we're sorely lacking in that.
You can't rescue this person.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. How do you rescue this person?
I was just going to say, you can have mental health issues and still hold bigoted ideas. And you can still have hateful things and beliefs that you hold. And it's a matter of how you package them and how you frame them and whether you want to vocalize them over and over and over again. I think it's clear that Jaden Ivey's having some sort of manic episode because he can't get off of Instagram Live. It really feels a lot like Antonio Brown to me when he just continues to do that CT ESPN thing. But it still is something that you can't really say, oh, well, Jaden Ivey is just mentally ill, so everything that he is saying, we're just going to sweep under the rug.
The thing about this, though, Trysta, that I keep coming back to because I lived it with my brother, I don't know that I articulated this well enough to people yesterday when I say that my brother became someone that I did not recognize. The height of a manic episode is everyone telling you you're crazy and you looking back and saying, no, I'm the only one who's right. Everyone else is crazy, and that's how you lose everyone. The manic bulletproof episode, never mind the bigoted ideas, just where you lose everybody is, no, the world's priorities are wrong and mine are correct. I'm being wronged here by a bunch of people who have this all wrong. That's what the episode is.
Well, Trysta, this is also complicated because, there's a culture war going on and he's dishing out takes and many people are making him a victim or applying their own political prism to it. I mean, this happens in basketball. Kyle Singler had this going on. Kyle Singler was a better pro than Ivey ever was. And he wasn't playing anymore in part because of these episodes. Ivey, to an extent, is being given more grace, and he probably should because he finds himself with unlikely allies right now, Trysta.
Yeah, I think that's true, but I think at the end of the day, what you guys didn't discuss isn't just the fact that he was displaying anti-gay ideals and that the right wing wants to jump on that, but you can't mess with the money, right? And at the end of the day, the league and the program is bigger than any one player. And you guys said, oh, if he was a better player, I think he'd get away with this. I don't think if you're somebody that's even on the level of Steph Curry or Damian Lillard, if you just keep pestering your teammates and keep preaching and keep asking media, have you been saved, and going on rants and raves on Instagram Live, the comp is Antonio Brown. That he was the best receiver in the league and out the league very, very quickly once he started those manic episodes and started becoming so unpredictable that it was bad for the Shield, bad for the money, and nobody is good enough to be bad for the money.
To me, part of this whole story is how wide open is your personal life if you're a public figure, as relates to Jaden Ivey's mom. Trysta, if you're covering a Notre Dame game and in the post-game interview, are you entitled to ask Jaden Ivey's mom about what he's saying and that situation, or do you consider that to be off limits?
That's such a good question. And I almost feel like I should be asking you that because I was never trained as a journalist. I think my skill has been that I'm a blurter and I ask very inappropriate things and my mind goes to a place where it's past the limits of probable journalistic professionalism. I asked AZ Fudd about something I saw in her open duffel bag and she's like, oh, not you just looking in my bag and asking me about the book inside of there. And I think that's probably borderline. My instinct says it depends. If Notre Dame was in the Final Four right now, would I feel comfortable asking her about it? I'd be comfortable texting someone who was also in that locker room to ask her about it. I don't know if I would do it, but I do feel like we should at least get her thoughts, considering that Olivia Miles left the program, and a lot of the reason that people said that she left the program was because she's an out lesbian and she didn't feel comfortable being in the environment at Notre Dame. For whatever reason. She goes to a Christian university that is apparently more inclusive and welcoming to her and her lifestyle. And Hannah Hidalgo has come out and said, well, I am not a homophobe. Like, it was just a misunderstanding. If Nell Ivey's in that locker room, I kind of do want to know, or in that press conference, I kind of do want to know, like, where do you stand on this issue? Because your own son is so fervent in being anti-gay that, and this all has happened around your program. Like, I just kind of want to know, like, where are you at on it? Is that wrong though, Greg? Like, what do you think?
No, as a journalist, I think they're both grown people, okay? And it's newsworthy for all of the reasons you say. And so I think in a post-game news conference, it's okay to tread very carefully in asking the mom, how are you dealing with why Jaden's in the news right now? Now, if you're dealing, I'm very curious how Charlie Woods is dealing with his dad's latest problem. I'm not sure if I would ask Charlie Woods that because he's still a teenager, I think. So some of it depends on age and the level of public.
But what is the responsibility? Because we are talking about, look, sports is supposed to be a place where all this stuff gets sussed out in all the ways it gets sussed out. What is her responsibility as public voice and face of a team in a sport where they also have had a number of anti-feelings from the public because this is a disproportionately gay league? And so all of this stuff merging together, what is the responsibility of the journalist and the coach here?
I think it's to ask the question. Now, the coach is very entitled to answer the question as a mom might and say, this is a family matter.
Yeah, but that's not what she's asking about. Trysta's not asking, how do you feel about your son melting down? That's not the question. Not how do you feel is not the question is, how do you feel about gays in your locker room? How do you feel? She's asking, how do you present this question in a way that's journalistically responsible, but also gentle because a mom is in the middle of a public thing that's really uncomfortable.
And they're intertwined, though, those two things. They're intertwined. You're asking the mom, the coach, that question because of her son and because of her own locker room. They're intertwined, and that makes it doubly newsworthy, in my opinion.
Dan, this is very reminiscent of the Tim Hardaway interview that you guys did years ago. I think one of my early conversations with you was about that interview and not knowing that you guys were the interview where it happened. But it's just a question that has nothing to do, although obviously it's spurred upon by the actions of her son. It's a question about, hey, this is something, and by the way, in the NBA, in men's basketball, it's still kind of a taboo thing. That's not the case in women's basketball. So I think it's totally within bounds, within reason to ask that question of her, not only because of what her son just went through, but also because of the situation with the player who transferred out.
Trysta?
Yeah, and I think, Greg, the question in framing it is, if you say, how do you feel, then she's going to come out like a mom, and if she answers at all, and say, we're doing our best, yada, yada. But how do you ask it in a pointed way where it's like, we want to know where you stand on having gay players, especially considering there's other coaches. For example, Kim Mulkey has been rumored or it was reported that she basically turned her back on Brittany Griner and told Brittany Griner, we don't want to hear about how gay you are or not. And it would be better if you just stayed away from the team. You had your time. We loved you at Baylor. Like, you don't need to come back. That's something that clearly is happening with coaches and their players. And that's something that there is whispers and rumblings about within Notre Dame. And I almost feel like it's a possibility that it was never Hannah Hidalgo that was the reason that Olivia Miles transferred out, and that maybe it was Nell Ivey instead.
This kind of stuff needs to be asked about. These questions need to make their ways into all of the uncomfortable corners. It's the job of journalism, no matter how uncomfortable that is, to get at truth, whether it's uncomfortable or not. Dan
Even
Hurley,
if it's irrelevant?
Irrelevant?
Is it relevant in the moment? Is it relevant in the moment?
A whole lot of people are arguing right now that sexuality in general shouldn't in any way be relevant to anything that's in this arena. That it doesn't, that none of it belongs here. But to ignore is to ignore the uncomfortable truth of why the hell is Christian Wilkins not in the sport? Why the hell is this happening at Notre Dame?
Folks, this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Listen, money stress. I feel like nobody really teaches you how to deal with it. You just kind of wake up one day, you look at your bank account and you go, oh, cool, that's not ideal. And it's not just the money, it's everything around it. The overthinking, the bad sleep, the I'll deal with it later, which never works. A lot of people feel that, but don't really talk about it. And it can start affecting you, your mood, your relationships, just how you show up every day. Therapy isn't about financial advice. It's about handling the stress that comes with it, understanding your habits, where that anxiety comes from, and how to deal with it in a healthier way. With over 30,000 therapists and more than 6 million people served, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform. And their sessions average 4.9 ratings from more than 1.7 million reviews. They match you based on a short questionnaire, and if it's not the right fit, you can switch anytime. When life feels overwhelming, therapy can help. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/DLB. That's betterhelp.com/DLB.
In sports, championships aren't won alone. They're won with the right people around you. That's exactly what Intuit TurboTax brings to taxes. With TurboTax Expert Full Service, matched with a dedicated tax expert who handles your taxes from start to finish. The experience is seamless. Start in person, finish online, move between both whenever needed. The dedicated tax expert keeps things updated every step of the way so nothing falls between the cracks. Think of it like having a great head coach with a solid game plan. The plays are called, adjustments are made, and the work gets done while everyone stays focused on what actually matters. And just like game film doesn't wait for business hours, neither do taxes. With TurboTax Expert Full Service, you can get any tax question answered at no extra cost, even on nights and weekends during tax season. This is having someone in your corner running the whole operation and helping put points on the board. Get started at TurboTax.com. Only available with Intuit TurboTax Full Service experts. Real-time updates only in iOS mobile app.
Folks, listen up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 sportsbook for live betting, is built for March. The tournament is unpredictable, but the rewards are guaranteed. And DraftKings is delivering some of the most generous rewards in the market. New to DraftKings? Bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code DAN. That's code DAN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets instantly. In partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org on behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas. Wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Limited time offer.
Dan Batard.
Surely every time you're watching this, you recognize that your wife is laughing that she married
Yes.
Larry David.
Yeah, I do, yeah. One of the great characters in the history of television, in my humble opinion. And to my credit, my personality...
In my humble opinion, followed by to my credit.
To my credit.
It's amazing.
My personality
it's just amazing.
does predate Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Stugotz.
Oh, wow.
I'm not going to say Larry David patterned himself
you
after
copy.
me.
All right, put it on the poll, please, Juju. Did Greg Cote copyright being an asshole long before Larry David?
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I want to move on to other stuff here, though, because Dan Hurley is saying that he thought the referee was trying to chest bump him. If you did not see the end of this game, it was amazing for a lot of reasons, including Dan Hurley, half his jacket was over his shoulder in the celebration. This has to be among the most improbable wins that Dan Hurley has ever been a part of. And at the end, he is forehead to forehead with the referee, and that should probably be a technical in all other circumstances. Dan Hurley's explanation that he was just chest bumping, he thought that the ref was coming over to chest bump with him, seems sarcastic. Trysta, should there be a penalty here? How is it that the joy of this moment is such that people are ignoring that it feels like Dan Hurley kind of headbutted a referee?
I think it's the opposite. Truly, I think it's so many people who have lost the plot of Dan Hurley, who are so upset with his antics that they don't fully appreciate how good he is for the sport. The fact that we have moments that are probably infinite when it comes to Dan Hurley as the head coach of UConn, he's going to give us gold for the rest of his career. We can do 15 minutes just on a headbutt. He's a madman in the best possible way. And I think because people are upset with how he talks to refs, the way that he's pushing his players back on the court, the way he says, oh, we got fucked after they lost to Florida last year. It's one of those situations where I feel like that's an incredible moment. And the ref saying, oh, yeah, no, there was nothing to see here. We were just celebrating, or whatever the ref said. I think that's hilarious as well. But also, I just want to spin the block because this is who I am. Like, I told you guys about UConn before they lost to St. John's. After they lost to St. John's, I said this could be a wake-up call.
She's
a victory lap?
She's learning how to be Kornheiser and Wilbon. Remember that thing I said I got right? I told you guys about UConn, as if she wasn't shitting her pants the last 15 minutes of that game.
She did tell us about UConn.
A team that's gone to 3 of 4 Final Fours and won 2 championships back-to-back and has a potential for a third?
That 000's hit the clock. The referee is technically off the clock now. Can't he just be like, yeah, it was kind of awesome. This sport's really cool. Can you imagine what we do for a living? How amazing is this? Yeah, I'll see you next game.
A little Chris Gatling with Sean Kemp. Dap him up.
I think that's what that was. Like, yeah, it was pretty cool. I'm glad to be a part of it. He can't do that after the game?
0.3 seconds left.
Come on.
There's always these refs in like AAU leagues and rec leagues that do that. I don't like that, man. Like they're all like, oh, that's a hell of a move right there with the whistle half in his mouth. Like,
I love that ref over at courtside.
You can't be like Billy Crystal and forget Paris and do the 3 and the high five Reggie Miller on the way out. Come on. It's sports. It's awesome.
What Trysta is saying there, though, that is cool, because you do really have to sort of appreciate the history here, at least a little bit, right? This conference hasn't been something that mattered the way that it did in the 90s when the coaches dominated college sports. And now you have Pitino as the second highest paid coach in the conference, second only to this most amazing career from a college basketball creature unlike any we've seen. Billy Donovan did not behave this way.
Dude, this is insane. We are not talking about Dan Hurley and UConn with enough reverence and respect. We're not. This is an insane run. He's already had a better career than Tom Izzo. It's been 26 years since Tom Izzo won a national title. He can win 3. He can win 3 national titles in 4 years. We were talking about it, Amin. Like, what's the comp on this kind of run? This Final Four run?
Wooden.
It's John Wooden. It's John Wooden, Trysta.
Yes. Like, I think Hurley will go down as the second best college coach of all, maybe third after Coach K. But like to pop in this level and to have this type of dominance. And I think the thing that we have to put it into context around is the NIL era. Like Wooden and Coach K, for the most part of Coach K's career, these players were staying at Duke. These players were staying at UCLA. These were the blue bloods. Dan Hurley is having to refresh this roster in a school and at a place where everybody's for sale. And Dan has a lens. He has a type of player that he recruits. I swear, when I'm going to bed, I watch Dan Hurley clips and interview bites. I am his biggest fan. I think what he has done in the NIL era might be more impressive than any college coach in history.
And also, this is a guy who on this show we interviewed talking about the Lakers job where they offered him 6 years and $70 million to coach LeBron, AD, who would have coached Luka, and he's like, "Nah, I'm good." And we were like, "Wow, that's kind of weird."
I'm troubled by Trysta's nighttime behavior. I'm troubled by her just checking press conference clips. It's too much, Hurley. Come on, get yourself together.
It's always nighttime.
And some magnesium lotion for the feet. I don't know if you guys have tried doing that, but I did that for the first time last night. Put magnesium lotion on. I was out like a light, gentlemen.
I do that.
That is good, actually.
Oh, wow. Am I 70?
Yeah. No,
Did
I
I
do
just
that.
find out I was actually 70?
There's no
Valerie.
way you put lotion on your feet.
No, those feet.
Lotion on that feet.
Trista, have you seen those feet? Are you familiar?
No.
Oh, my God. All right, we're going to put one of these dinosaur talons on the screen for you here in a second.
No, we don't have to.
He doesn't
There
ever
it is. They have it at the
Oh,
ready.
my God.
Yeah. Look
One
at
of the photos they always
It
have at the
looks
ready.
waterlogged.
Yeah, former foot model.
Look there, that's better. That's Nosferatu's foot. If I told you that right there
Like a
was
dinosaur.
It doesn't go flat on the ground.
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
That foot doesn't go flat on the ground.
If I told you that is the foot of the demon angel that is Nosferatu.
Dan, in Teen Wolf, the first thing that used to change was his nails, and it looked exactly like that.
Wait a second. That foot doesn't go flat on
It's
the
like
ground?
the beast. It's like the way the beast in
No,
Beauty and the
look,
Beast stands.
Look, this picture is perfect for a number of different reasons. Most of all, that one. It's not just that's the talon of a giant bird of prey, a gargoyle of some sort. It's that foot is levitating because it cannot touch the ground. The weight of the nails, the yellow jaundiced nails in the front, make it so that it cannot be flattened.
And the beautiful thing about this is, Trysta, do you have any reference point to what is next to that foot?
No clue.
Okay, so
Absolutely no
if we
clue.
were to zoom out, he's frying a turkey
Yes.
in front of his garage.
Hot bubbling oil is the answer to Tony's question. What is near that bare foot? And the reason, just so that we're clear about this, the foot is not afraid of the burning oil. The burning oil is afraid of the foot. Be clear on this.
It's an impenetrable skin. I was worried he was going to JPP his own foot and it would actually make the foot look better. But no, now that you say it, it makes more sense
know
because
what?
that's the hoof of a devil.
That is a good question by Trysta. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Would Greg Cote's foot look better if he only had 4 of the toes? Because it would. If I lopped off that big toe, I've made for a foot that is not only more hygienic, it is less of the devil's foot.
Trysta, I apologize for all of this. I'm sorry you had to see that.
But my wife does do that, and magnesium will help you go to bed at night. That is something that is a universal truth. I did not know that it was something that was a universal truth on your feet, though, Trysta.
I didn't know that you guys were such hippies, Dan. That's such a hippie thing to do.
Yes.
I'm proud of you for evolving into the new age.
I like to be able to sleep better. That is something that I crave. You don't have anybody beating Gino Auriemma in the women's tournament, right? And is this the best team he's ever had? Because he's had plenty of giant, overwhelming teams, but he hasn't had giant, overwhelming teams in a competitive era.
He says no. And I think he would probably say, because he loves Paige Beckers like his own child, that the Paige season, that roster was better. Because he just came out with some quotes, I think either yesterday or the day before, and he was like, we shouldn't be this good, which I think is kind of a whack thing to say when your team is still playing. But yeah, when you're 38-0, and you're coming off of a title, and again, putting it into the context of the NIL era, which I know is a bit different on the women's side, you could make it out to be the most dominant UConn team, but I think you have to still look at those Taurasi years. And those are the ones where they were really smacking everybody.
But the sport wasn't as competitive, though. There weren't as many good teams.
Right, but at the high end, look, you could argue we got 4 number 1 seeds and an historic point differential for the number 1 seeds to make it to the Final Four. I do think, Trysta, it harkens back to a time where there were like 3 top dogs. It always seemed to be Pat Summitt versus Gino.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think that's what is going to have to change in the sport as more and more good players come in. But listen, like Juju Watkins tore her ACL. She was out all this year. I think she probably could have played in the tournament, but she doesn't want to lose a year of eligibility. They now have the number 1 overall player coming in to USC. So they have Jazzy, they've got Juju, and they've got Sanaya Hall coming in. So USC is coming, and I think that will add a little flavor to things. I think maybe what we saw from Notre Dame, where we get some transfers. But listen, like TCU was in that game against South Carolina. They just didn't have the depth. And they didn't have the physicality. And when Marta Suarez went down with the tweaked knee, that was really when they
Gone. She's gone, and that's how that has to end. We will talk Trysta. We will talk to Trysta the next time.
Oh, she's back.
You can watch Trysta on the Alley Oop on DLS Hoops on Tuesday and the Le Batard Show YouTube channel on Fridays, as well as Good Follow on Thursdays on the Good Follow YouTube channel.
Xfinity Tech Support. How can I help?
I can't get Jurassic Park back online without...
Oh, you just need Xfinity. Plug in your gateway and you're good. All set. Luckily, Xfinity has reliable, self-healing Wi-Fi that keeps you safe from threats. Wow. You can even boost speeds to your most important devices.
Get reliable Wi-Fi at one price for 5 years, guaranteed. Xfinity. Imagine that. Watch Jurassic Park with Xfinity. Restrictions apply. Select plans only.
Dan Le Batard.
I want to address Tony and all men who would wear that shirt in public.
Stugotz.
Don't do it.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
That is it for Trysta. She gets one bad connection and she's gone. I actually wanted her thoughts on Tiger Woods. I wanted her thoughts on why it is she's wearing that TCU jersey, but that's it. I don't trust her connection anymore, and we're live, and we got to keep the show moving. So if you want to keep her in the corner,
Back to Greg.
Complaining and yelling, but I got to ride the hot foot. I got to ride the hot hand here. We have not had enough Greg Cote in the show today because you cannot get enough Greg Cote in the show. Zaslow, his nemesis, is not in this week because allegedly he's skiing, and he has said that he would send us videos of him skiing, but I'm pretty sure that Zaslow, who knows nothing about the winter, does not know how to dress for the winter. I'm guessing he hasn't sent any videos because he has failed to realize that there are some times that you can go to a place to ski and not check the weather and realize that there's not snow there. And I'm guessing that's what's happened to Zaslow here because he wanted to be a part of the show this week. He was going to send videos. He hasn't sent videos, and I'm guessing it's because he's ashamed because he has failed at skiing. He has chosen a resort community that does not have snow.
Went on a ski trip. He can't ski.
He's not a skier, Zaslow.
That is a funny visual, him skiing.
It is. It's an impossible video. Zaslow is the kind of guy who would buy the outfit.
He's the kind of guy.
Rent skis and take a photo of himself on the ski lift.
Are you profiling?
And never ski.
I'm pretty sure he does ski. I think
No
that's
chance.
why he was going.
He's not a skier.
No chance.
Is
he got a big ass head?
I'm with Dan. He has regularly through the years skied.
Well, it's probably a fake.
So what are you doing? You're profiling him based on just looking at him? You're saying that he can't be a skier because I'm pretty sure if you go on a skiing vacation. Now, maybe I've got this wrong because I think most skiers know to check the weather before they go on a skiing vacation. So maybe he is a real amateur here because it's a foolish thing to do, to plan a ski trip at a time that's the beginning of spring when maybe some parts of the country don't have the kind of snow that you want in the mountains.
Do you criticize people that book a trip to Miami and then it's raining? Like, you book these things months out. You hope the weather.
I go to wine country. It doesn't make me a vintner. You know,
I don't know what that has to.
Just because he goes to where there's skiing.
So what's the allegation you're making?
That he's not a skier.
Okay.
He's a fraud.
Yeah.
So you think that Zaslow went on a ski vacation, but is not a skier? Was just going to meander around the resort,
be photographed on the slope
near the muffins,
right?
But okay, we'll find out.
He's drinking a hot toddy in the lodge. That guy
near the muffins.
In the lodge, a hot toddy. He's having a hot chocolate in the muffin. He's there to put on the ski cap and to go and get the hot chocolate and the muffin in the lodge and to take a couple of photos to show everyone in South Florida that he's skiing when, as college football's expert for ESPN Radio, he travels to cold weather places and does not have the clothes because he's been dressed like a beach bum for as long as I've known him.
And there it is, right? Like, that lays out why it's preposterous that he's a skier. He doesn't even own a jacket. Come on, man.
Yeah.
What, he's been skiing in T-shirts and shorts his whole life? Get out of here. The guy's a fraud.
Zagaki.
He is somebody who dresses like it's always spring break. He does not have the clothing in his closet to go to Wisconsin for a college football game, but he was doing that this season. I just want, for the record, what the accusation is, because I want to. Why would you go on a ski vacation if you weren't going to ski? That sounds dumb.
Why?
Well,
I mean, I'm sure he probably wanted to ski, but the way that your favorite topic is global warming or whatever, there wasn't enough snow.
My dad went to Colorado and just did a bunch of gummies.
There you go. I mean, maybe that's a whole different story.
You're the kind of guy, though.
I am the kind of guy.
Wait a minute. You're a guy who does gummies since when?
Well, when in Rome. I mean, when in
This was
Denver,
back when Colorado was like the only spot you could go.
What? Since when do you? I have not heard any of these stories, and to date, Mad Dog Russo is the only one who has crossed the journalistic bridge too far of I do gummies while it is that I'm watching sporting events. I did not know that Greg Cote was a gummy user. Now we're here. It requires some follow-up questions.
Well, back then, you walk into everything's legal there. I mean, I didn't do anything illegal. I'm walking into a place, one of those places, and
Dispensary?
A dispensary, and I buy a little tube of gummies.
Did you do it correctly? What was Greg Cote's riding high experience on gummies?
I will say that it was
Dan, he put him up his ass.
Yeah,
No, he didn't do it right.
He didn't do them correctly.
No, did he do too much?
He was handed gummies, and he's like,
I know how to take a gummy, believe me.
Okay, listen.
Why was
the question? The reason I am asking the question, I thought I had told you guys this story, and I I have just heard a number of different stories like the one I'm about to tell you. Okay, I made the classic rookie mistake of
Went in for another one?
this gummy's not doing anything. It didn't work. Let me have another one. Not understanding the first time that I was doing this, that you should be waiting 40 or 45 minutes. So when I asked the question of did you do it correctly, it's not because I thought that Greg Cote arrived at the dispensary and then decided to try the gummy anally. No. While I enjoyed you guys pantomiming the idea of putting a thermometer up your butt, no, it's not because I thought Greg Cote
No, it was the actual gummy that they were putting up, not a thermometer.
Whoa! Sour.
In fairness, the tube of gummies did not come with directions. Okay, it's just like
It is not an unreasonable question for me to ask if Greg Cote's first experience, or if this was his first experience with gummies, was something that he had done incorrectly and might birth a funny story.
yeah, you just said it strangely. I do think, unless you're around people that had bad first-time experiences and coach you along the way, take this much. Most people kind of overdo it their first time.
Well,
I know I did.
I took advantage of my uncommonly large nostrils by trying to snort the gummy. That didn't work. Okay, that didn't work. And so then what I did, this is a true story. I took
Not the snorting part.
I took a gum. No, not that. I took a gummy.
Let him cook.
I took a gummy, and like you, I thought it would be instant. It wasn't instant. I popped another gummy. We're going to dinner about an hour after that, and let's put it this way. I ordered about 45 appetizers at that restaurant because by that time the two gummies had kicked in, and woo! That kind of thing. Haven't had a gummy since.
So the answer to my question is you did do it incorrectly. As everyone in the group just jumped down my throat.
No, I mean, he did it the right way. He just did too much.
Yeah.
It's the way you asked, right?
Yeah.
Not what you asked,
You
the
said
way
it
you
weird.
asked.
You asked like someone that wasn't human.
Right. Yes. Thank you.
Like someone that wore human skin,
Men in Black.
trying to learn things about
Fire
how
alarm,
humans
fire
do
sensor.
things.
I'm just wearing human skin. Aren't we all?
Put it on the poll at Batard Show. I'm just wearing human skin, aren't we all? Question mark. Yes or no?
I feel like we've all been there, right? Where you take too many edibles and you're just like, whoa.
I had to make the decision. Am I going to call for a helicopter or am I just going to die here? And I decided I'm just going to die here. And I didn't die.
See, I didn't have the thing where, like, Dad, when you did it, you just got really hungry. I did that thing. Remember when you were in class sleeping in high school and you would, like, feel like you're falling off a mountain?
Yeah.
Like, where you're sleeping in class and all of a sudden you think you're falling? That kept happening to me. I was sitting at my father-in-law's movie premiere. and I was just way too, and I just kept feeling like I was falling out of my chair. This was 3 months ago.
Don't do gummies or any edibles on an island. That's only accessible by boat.
I really thought that somebody was going to ask the follow-up, why would you have needed a helicopter? I thought somebody might have the question when you volunteered it, and I thought everyone had heard perhaps that you already had said you were on an island?
No, it was a hoity-toity resort in the Keys that's accessible by boat. There's no bridges there, so if you were to get immediate attention, you would need a helicopter to come in, and I didn't want to be that guy on account of MJF gave me this chocolate bar that was way too strong.
I just want you picture-in-picture to look at the video that they keep putting up there of what it is that you were doing.
I didn't give permission for that. No, that's not. No, that's not right. That's the last time I try to help you guys with sight gags. Please take it off.
Hold on. You know,
please take it down.
If you play it in reverse, it looks like he's wiping his ass and then sniffing it.
Do reverse.
Yeah. Thanks. Not doing that anymore. Honestly, screw you guys. That's not cool.
Learned your lesson.
All because Dan said something weird. And I was trying to, make chicken salad.
I just heard, shouted, and it sounded like somebody desperately holding on to a buoy at sea against waves where he was about to drown. But far away from a microphone, I just heard Lewis scream, "We're efforting!" The reversal of that video to make it look like you just wiped your butt and then put it up to your nose. So there is a complete panic now in the other room where video wastes a great deal of time and money, and we have blown through the clocks because we have to finish this segment on the visual joke of Mike reversing the video so that it looks like, and I don't trust video when they yell, "We're efforting," and it sounds like they're lost at sea. To get the punctuation on this joke at the end of a segment that alienates the audio audience because we're trying to get to the visual joke of we're efforting. Now we're stuck here. No, now we got to finish and get the stupidity of video has made the judgment call of this is a good idea. We have to blow through the clock so that we can get the visual joke that upsets Mike. So now we're just going to wait here until this happens.
I can fill for a second. Guys, DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 sportsbook for live betting, is built for March. The tournament is unpredictable, but the rewards are guaranteed. And DraftKings is delivering some of the most generous rewards in the market. New to DraftKings, bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code DAN. That's code DAN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets instantly in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Now I just have to sit here and wait for them to finally find that video. So I'll ask Amin what Mark Cuban said, where he now regrets not selling the Mavericks, but who he sold the Mavericks to, because as we said earlier in the show, Luka has more points in March for the Lakers that Anthony Davis had for the Mavericks in totality. Greg, what are you trying to show me as I try to transition the show to Amin? And you're showing me something on your computer to read while I'm talking.
I have a valuable update here. I just Googled the phrase, will a marijuana gummy taken anally produce an effect? The answer is yes. A marijuana gummy taken rectally will produce an effect, but it will likely be different from eating it, with a higher rate of absorption, 50 to 70% efficiency, and a faster onset, usually within 10 to 15 minutes.
So a suppository.
That kind of thing.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org on behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas. Wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Limited time offer.